Alright guys, so we are back with part 2. So, we've got everything set up, everything optimized, everything ready to record, right? Not so fast, unfortunately. But it's really easy to get to the point where you can hit that live button and start broadcasting to your friends. Now, in this video, I'm not going to cover overlays, and the reason for that is because overlays like literally can take up a whole nother 20-minute video, 30-minute video. So we'll cover overlays on a different video. But for the sake of this, I'm going to show you how to create a scene, use that scene to add sources within side of that scene, and then I'll show you how to layer those sources so all of them are showing in the correct order. So we begin with this screen again, basically the same look, but everything's signed in. And basically what you're going to have here is you're going to have this little scenes tab. Well, you're going to have a blank scene. It's not going to say live screen. I believe it's probably just going to say scene. And that's what you're going to be starting with. Okay, so basically right now you have a single scene. Now, once you add sources within a screen or a scene, excuse me, you can add other scenes, right? So that way you have like a starting screen, an ending screen, be right back. I use an intermission screen in my streams. But for the sake of this video, we'll keep it simple and we'll use this basic scene. Now, once you have that scene created, this center box right here is called your sources. This is going to hold all of your sources from your game capture to your webcam, just everything from your microphone. I mean, everything. So the first thing that I like to do within a scene is add my two main sources, right? My audio capture, which is my microphone, and my webcam. Those are my two main sources, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this plus button. It's going to pull up this little menu. And we're going to add an audio input capture. Once you highlight that, hit add source. Now I like to name this mic because that's what I'm used to seeing in my source box. You can name it whatever you're going to be able to easily find. It's whatever you guys want to name. Add source. Click this drop down menu and find the source you want to use. Now I'm going to be using my LCS USB audio mic, which is the mic that I use for streaming as well. These other two microphones are a base microphone, which I believe is like built into my computer, and then there's my headset microphone. So the cool part about OBS is you can actually add multiple sources, right? So if you want to have a mic input for both of your microphones, you can do that, and you could toggle between those two. And maybe in a later video we'll talk about the usefulness of that when you're streaming with a multiple monitor setup, especially when you're streaming with party chat. You don't always want your party to hear what you're saying to your chat, and you don't always want your chat to hear what you're saying to your party, and it helps you be able to go in between that. So for now, we're going to select that LCS audio, hit done. And if you look down here in the mixer, you're going to see that it adds a source into the mixer, right? Okay, well, we're not going to use this, but we're not going to touch anything with this until the last video. So now we have our mic in here, right? Okay, so the next thing we want to add is our webcam. It's literally the exact same thing. You go back to this plus, but this time we're going to use video capture device. Last one we did audio, this time we do video. Add source. I like to name it webcam. That's what I'm used to seeing, so that's what I leave it. I do this in all my scenes. Now, I have multiple webcams set up. Okay, so you guys are gonna get to see me a little bit in this, yay. And I can select between those webcams. Now, at the moment, Irian is not connected. Irian's really cool if you do not have a high def webcam or a cheap webcam. If you have a smartphone, you can download Irian webcam on it. You can put that server on your computer and you can use your cell phone as a webcam. It actually works really well. But for the sake of this, we are using the webcam that I use to stream, which is just called webcam. If you don't see anything, click deactivate and click activate again. 9 times out of 10, it will pop up. It just means that it didn't connect or see it right away. Hit done. Now, we're going to go over how to adjust these things in a real quick way, but we're going to cover that more in our overlays video. But for right now, what we want to do is go ahead and downsize that webcam, right? Because most of the time, we're not going to have our face all the way across the screen, right? Most of the time, we're just going to be broadcasting our face in a little corner and then the game behind it. So now we have our microphone and we have our webcam, right? Well, it really doesn't matter where the microphone is in the layer, right? So you see how I can move these? I can put it under, Put it over because there's really no visual to the microphone, right? So no matter where it is in the layer, it does not matter whether or not it's visible. Now, at the moment, theoretically, if the microphone had something visible, something to show, and my face was covering the entire screen, my webcam, and we put the microphone under the webcam like this, we would not see the microphone visual, and I'll explain what that means. So obviously the next thing we're going to want to add is our game capture or display capture, right? So I'm going to do our game capture because I'm using display cap on another broadcast service that I'm actually using to record this video. So we're going to do game capture. Pretty much every game out there supports game capture. There's a few games that do not. Destiny 2, Flight Simulator 2020 so far has not. So I don't know if they're going to fix that later on, but most games support game capture. I recommend, if you're going to be streaming games, to use game capture because that dedicates more power or processing power to that particular source in OBS, whereas display capture kind of shares things, spread things out, because it's really just looking for whatever is in front of it. It's not dedicating itself to that source. Click game capture, add source. I leave it called game capture. That's just what I'm used to calling. Leave everything here exactly how it is. Leave it all here. Even if you're SLR, Crossfire, just leave it. Okay, so now, if you look, we got our webcam, we got our mic, we got our game capture, but where did our webcam go, right? Well, because our webcam is underneath our game capture, and our game capture is taking up the entire screen, we have to move the webcam up in the layers to get it visible or over the top of our game capture. So if you think of this as a visible layer, whatever's on top is what's going to show. So if we had another webcam and we put that on top of this one, it would show over this one and this one and this one, and so on and so forth. So the basics of this video is we created a scene, which you're going to have when you initially get into OBS, and we added our microphone source by going to the plus key, audio input capture. We added our webcam by going to the plus key and doing video capture device. And then we added our game capture by going to the plus key and adding game capture. Now, I'm not going to dive too much into display capture and some of these other things because I think that once you guys figure out the game capture and once you play with this a little bit, you're going to understand that stuff a little bit better. But leave in the comments if that's something you guys want to see, and I'll make a short little video on how to use the different sources and everything and what they do. So those are the three main things we covered, right? Scenes, sources, and layering. All right, guys. I will see you on part 3.